Our next question, Jim, sent in to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com. This is one we hear from a lot of people. From Steve in New Jersey. Can you explain what exactly WWE style is?
Not really verbally, no. But they have taken professional wrestling and they've amplified certain things that Vince always likes. It always liked. It's more about the sizzle than the steak. I've talked before about how the WWE guys seem to milk things longer, and there's the facial reaction response, and the time stands still while everybody reacts to everything. They call that telling the story now, and it's just it's a style of pro wrestling. It's safer. It's more obviously dependent on working up to the big moves, although that used to be. Now, really, with the NXT guys, they don't do that at all. So now there is some element of WWE style, but it's more like just the WWE style these days is just don't do the shit we've specifically said don't do. Because a lot of the guys now do shit that they wouldn't have done in the WWE 10 years ago. Help me out. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you know it when you see it. And that's why everybody works somewhat the same way and everybody's trained somewhat the same way. Even though there's different trainers and they teach them different things, the way that they're trained to approach the match and look at the match is basically the same, and you're not supposed to do all the things that Vince doesn't like. Is that about it?
Chris Jericho in his first book talked a little bit about, or maybe it was his second book. I thought it was his first one, but now I don't remember. The experience when he first came into WWE, and he had been great in WCW, and right away Vince and Triple H may have played a part in this, soured on his work, and had him work with Sean Waltman, because he says Sean will teach you how to work how we do here. So I guess that's my question for you. If when you were there, a guy came in from WCW, would you have to retrain them in a way? Would you have to tell them things not to do or things to change or how to play to the crowd? Or what would you tell an established guy back then who came in about how to change the way they're working?
I wouldn't do that, but then the other guys would, the agents and et cetera, because it was with Jericho. Yes, he was still a little green when he was in WCW, but they had a faster pace. It was more action. It was more legitimate looking. They would sacrifice milking something or whatever for the legitimacy of it, just a momentary diversion or something looking real. It was old fashioned NWA style, still in WCW more than it was WWE. Slow the pace down, get these points across. It's hard to explain since Jericho couldn't really explain it past that's what happened either. But, and a lot of it is not doing shit that Vince doesn't like. But that was part of the thing that's why so many of the matches were so similar, because even though it was different guys trained by different people, they were kind of doing the same things. I loved it when somebody came in from WCW because it was different shit. It was like back in the territory days when different guys would come in from different territories and it would be different. They just work different. They just do different things. They didn't want that. And also Triple H and everybody else is trying to knock Jericho because, hey, here's a fucking flashy young kid. He's going to take our fucking spot. And, Triple H wasn't fucking the son-in-law yet. He was just working on it. But no, I never tried to have guys change what they did unless something that they were doing I didn't think looked particularly good or wasn't good for them to do. I would say that no matter where they came from, I'd bring it up to them. But no, everybody else wanted to retrain guys the WWF way, or the agents would, this is the way we do it. But no, it's just let guys do their fucking shit.
Like within a few months, you had Vader come in, you had Mark Merrow come in, guys who had been big stars.
Well, with Merrow, that's the problem. He couldn't do his shit. They bought Johnny B. Bad and they got Mark Merrow, and they were afraid for him to even look the same because elsewise they'd get sued. And that's the only thing he could ever did in the wrestling business that was worth two shits in a fucking hand was Johnny B. Bad. So he would have been great if he'd have done his shit, but he couldn't legally.
It was kind of like wanting Larry Bud Melman and getting Calvert DeForest. Pop Mr. Cornette there with that
very
reference.
Good, very good.
Are you a fan of Late Night with David Letterman, the 1980s show before he went to CBS?
Oh yeah, no, I never missed it. If I was in a hotel or home or anywhere that I could see that show, I never missed it. And yes, I was a devoted Larry Bud Melman fan. And no, I didn't stop watching Letterman until he went to 11:30 and got a suit that looked right. And then I just, it was like, it's over.
Did you like Chris Elliott?
Somewhat, but I just liked Letterman because he was a fucking abrasive asshole, but he was also funny in that kind of fucking gap-toothed, leery kind of way.